and welcome to Pivigo Profiles. My name is Doug Ward and I work in the Sales and Partnerships team here at Pivigo. This is a series about the power of science to data science, Pivigo's Data Science Bootcamp, and what some of the 700 fellows are doing having graduated the programme. I'm really pleased to be speaking to Amy McQuillan, who's Head of Business Modelling at Royal Mail and who was in the SGDS class of 2014, shortly after she'd finished her PhD in astrophysics at Oxford. Hi Amy, and how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yes, really well, thank you. To kick off, you okay to talk a little bit about yourself and your role at Royal Mail, and then we'll get stuck into some quick-fire questions about you.
Yep, sure. Yep. So as you said, astrophysics background and then through STDS. And it was perfect really for me because it came along, STDS started up just at the point I was looking to leave academia for in search of more job security, less time writing funding proposals, more time doing analytical work. And so I did my internship through STDS with Royal Mail and loved it so much that I've been there for the last 6 years or so now, moving up through the company. So I started as a business modelling analyst, so kind of similar work to research level where you're guided through to solve business problems, then up to consultant level, and now the head of the team. It's a fantastic team. We act as in-house consultants for the company effectively, doing the problem solving with data, and we also work in close collaboration with the data science team at Royal Mail, who are a different department, and it's one of the things I keep pointing out when I come back to do Pivigo talks is I'm not technically a data scientist, but lots of overlap, and it's another path to consider. Not every role coming out of STDS has the job title data scientist, but there's some still fantastic things out there.
For sure, yeah. I feel like one of the eternal questions is actually defining exactly what a data scientist does as well.
Yeah.
It was a tough one. Okay, brilliant. That's really, really great to hear. Like I said, I've got some kind of quick fire questions for you, just to get you to know you a little bit better. So without further ado, we'll kick off. What's your secret talent that people might not know about?
Ooh, I don't think it's very secret. I think it would be scuba diving, all things scuba diving. That's as many weekends as possible to get down to the coast, get underwater, working my way up the camera gear quality
Amazing.
as well. But yeah, I say not very secret because Facebook is plastered with pictures of fish from my adventures.
Fantastic. That's really interesting. Do you speak any other languages?
No, picked up a tiny bit of Hebrew when I did a year of postdoc at Tel Aviv University before
Yeah.
switching over to data science. So did some Hebrew language classes, but it was a long time ago now. Can pretty much only remember to kind of, please, thank you, can I have wine and cheese?
Yeah, the three essentials in any language, I guess. What topic could you spend hours talking to me about?
Ooh, possibly my two adorable pet guinea pigs. I bore my team to death with conversation about my guinea pigs, photos of my guinea pigs on the team chat, and yeah, that probably the main one. Or ancestry research as well, or the genealogy research. It kind of appeals to my data collection and analysis, problem solving. Is this person on this record really the same person on that record? How far back in time can it be traced? Yeah.
Interesting, really, really interesting. Do you have any irrational fears?
I don't know. I think probably my biggest fear is getting blamed for things that I didn't do on purpose. And it happens occasionally, whether you I know, accidentally use the wrong equipment somewhere that belongs to someone else, or whether you've sent the wrong email to the wrong person. And yeah, I think getting into trouble when I didn't mean to do anything wrong is probably my biggest fear. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's high on my list as well, for sure. So we're always at the back of the mind.
Yeah.
If you could predict anything with data science, what would it be?
Ooh, probably climate change. I want to know, like, how screwed are we?
Yes.
How much
Yeah.
can we change things for the better?
Yeah. Interesting. And obviously, aside from the work you do at the Royal Mail, and I guess I have a idea maybe to do with scuba diving. But what would your dream job be?
Probably something that mixes data analysis, data science, and environmental science at the same time. So again, when I was looking for careers outside academia, I stayed away from that area because a lot of it suffers from the same lack of funding that academia had. So although that might be my dream job, is to go save all the fish and do some marine biology and things like that, I think I'd struggle for funding and the unstable academic lifestyle just as much as I did in astrophysics. So Royal Mail is one of those places where I have the nice stable job. I can do research that I love during the days, and then I have my weekends for scuba diving.
Yeah, brilliant. And touching on academia, what was the worst part of your PhD?
Ooh, it was one of those periods of extreme highs and lows, as I guess it is for everyone. I think the worst parts were feeling very isolated, that you are the only one working on this topic. There isn't necessarily a support network. There aren't quite the same HR policies and support in universities as there are in the non-academic world. I was very lucky to have a very good supervisor who was great, but it doesn't change the fact that it's you and a thesis alone in the world. So yeah, it's probably the worst points.
And then conversely, and a bit more positively, what was the best part of your PhD?
Best part, I'd say, is the fact you are doing something new, and you are doing groundbreaking research. By definition, you have to find a new result. So working on measuring rotation periods of many stars within the Kepler satellite field, and using that to interpret things about the age of different areas of our galaxy was really, really cool. Nothing kind of beats that for doing groundbreaking physics research that no one else has seen before, being the first person to see a relationship on a plot when you finally processed all your data together and be like, oh, that's got an interesting pattern in it, I wonder what's causing that.
Yeah, and big questions those as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
Who's the most influential person for you?
probably my first boss when I joined Royal Mail. It was a lovely guy who's now retired, but we're still very good friends. He'd had years and years of experience moving up through the business, being in charge of different areas, and he was a fantastic people person. So a
Yeah,
lot of his tips and things for me when I was just starting out, whether it was tips on presenting and how to tell a story rather than just show data, whether it was how to manage the team, how to care for the team and bring everyone together. It's probably my first boss.
that's amazing. It's so important and so powerful to have someone like that, especially I guess if you're working under them and you really respect them. It just brings out
Yeah,
so much in you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
hard one. Hopefully doing something similar but at a higher level, whether in Royal Mail or another organisation. So I'm very keen to pursue the leadership and management roles. So having moved from hands-on data analysis, leading a team of analysts, to then take that to the next level up, wider remit, more strategy focused, and see where that takes me.
Great. And in terms of both, I guess, business modeling and data science and the whole data ecosystem, what do you think is going to change the most in the next 5 years?
Ooh, changes in the next 5 years.
It's a very
I
long
think,
time, I'm aware in there.
yeah. I think that the initial buzz of data science is starting to calm down a bit and then diverge into specialities. So that's what I'm seeing. Whereas we used to recruit data scientists, we now recruit a data engineer or a software specialist who can do data analysis, or someone that, machine learning specialist, for example. I think
Yeah,
that clarification of different paths within data science seems to be emerging more and more. And I think after the initial buzz of every business wanting to just look at all its big data without really knowing what it's asking for, there's going to be more of a focus of, okay, this is what data analysis and data science can really give to a company. And I think it'll be drilling down into that focus, perhaps even simplifying things that were initially overcomplicated just because we could, when we were starting out, and really driving those key features that improve performances of industry.
Great. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Actually, I think it's going to become much more direct, and that ambiguity around what a data scientist does will hopefully be refined somewhat. Um, I guess moving on to slightly longer questions, and you mentioned earlier about how your first boss at Royal Mail was really influential to you. But it'd be great to have a chat about how it was and what it was like starting your first data role out of SGDS.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, technically, the role that I started in Royal Mail, I started during S2DS during the internship. So, right from the beginning, it was great because a lot of the fears that I had about leaving academia and how it was going to be this terribly scary, cutthroat corporate world outside weren't true, or at least not at Royal Mail. I can't speak for many other industries. It was just this wonderful, supportive atmosphere and lots of new challenges, lots of new things to learn straight away. Kind of, you hit the ground running with the skills you've got from PhD, but straight away you're being bombarded with all sorts of new things and new stuff to try out, whether it's new programming languages, whether you're learning econometrics when you've got your time series analysis background and suddenly you're applying it to financial data with a lot of external influences that you have to model each effect and work through. And then it's the transition into between data analysis and the storytelling element of the what's actually happening. So why are we seeing these effects? And it depends whether you're working on a problem where you need to say why something's happening, like a cause and effect analysis, or whether you just need to know this is happening, here's how we should respond to it. So I always go back to that. If when you're watching the weather forecast, do you need to know why it's going to rain tomorrow, or do you just need to know to take an umbrella?
Yeah,
And yeah, so get sort of separating those problems out, becoming a good communicator of strategy implications of the data science that you do, and building up a fantastic network throughout the company as well, because startups, you'll get an opportunity to do loads of different things straight away because you're one of the few people there who has to cover all the areas. But
yeah,
in big companies, you can go join in with the people doing all those different roles. So you can sort of dip in and out of the finance department and then dip in and out of the logistics department. And yeah, whether you're looking at sort of joining in with people doing fleet management one day and people doing like forecasts based on the economy the next day. Yeah, just really good to have that diversity, having been working on stellar rotation and exoplanets quite consistently for many years before that through PhD and through that first year of postdoc. So yeah, it was just this wonderful adventure and sort of finding out there's a lot of support, there's a lot of career guidance, everyone's looking out for you and trying to help you succeed because it's in the company's interest that you succeed.
yeah.
So it was far less kind of competitive and formal than I was expecting. It just turned out to be a great bunch of people who I still call friends, and it's been fun moving up through the company with them, changing roles,
Yeah.
seeing people come and go, and seeing what they get up to in other industries. Yeah, I think the social side of it and the range of things you can explore within a company have all exceeded my expectations.
That's brilliant. And I guess it sounds exactly like you described it earlier, as you're kind of a consultancy or working consulting within a larger company, within the Royal
Yeah,
Mail, sorry.
yeah, which is the perfect balance because I like the idea of the variety that you would get if you were in perhaps a consultancy startup, but I wanted the stability. So being an internal consultancy was the perfect match. I think that's where I've really found my niche.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And also, my background's not in astrophysics, but I did my degree in classical music. And I also had the similar perception that industry and the business world was full of
Yeah,
these cutthroat sharks, and it was going to be,
yeah.
and it it turns out it isn't. Just interesting pattern there, and how
Mm,
that's kind of portrayed in in society in general. Um,
yeah.
I guess just moving on as well. I'm aware I don't want to take up too much of your precious time, um, but it'd be great to hear how data um, is being used at Royal Mail to help kind of drive strategy and how you're helping to do that with your team.
Yeah, so it's something they've focused on more and more, sort of at the same point as a lot of companies. They wanted to move towards being a data-driven decision-making company rather than we've always done it this way, or this expert thinks we should try whatever process. And so there's a really big focus now on the most senior levels to have the facts and the figures behind it, and to really dig into what that means coming up. So a lot of it's the predictive side of it, because especially at the moment with the incredible volatility in the market due to COVID, is even more of a drive to say, well, what are the ranges of possibilities coming down the line? So in the logistics sector, everyone switched to online shopping as a result of lockdown. It's basically catapulted us several years into the future projection of online retail growth.
Yeah.
And so having modelling behind that, so we've got the forecasting side, we've got taking into account the econometric predictions and things like that. It's fascinating, and what I really love is how much respect there is from the senior management for things that have numbers behind them. And if you combine those numbers with a story to say, and here's what our recommendation is in terms of how to act, that's that they love it. And that's great, because that was always the fear as well leaving academia, is are the senior people going to listen to you when you come forward saying, don't think this thing you're going to do is actually going to work, I think you want to do that thing instead, because look at the profit loss diagram here. But it's brilliant. There's a fantastic uptake on it, and the fact that the data is the data, the analysis, the presentations are so valued by the senior management has meant that our team is in a great position to have links straight to the top as well. So we don't feel like we're kind of just crunching numbers in the basement, where we're there with the top bosses presenting our analysis and saying, well, here's what the trends are showing, here's all these features that we've added in predictive analysis, here's where we think the company's headed. So it's really great that having the appreciation for data, having those kind of smart, considerate people at the top level who want to hear about the data even when it's not saying the things they want it to say.
That's the tough part, I guess, isn't it? When it's contradicting a larger strategy, and you've got to be the bearer of bad news. It's tough.
Yeah,
for sure. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Amy. Really appreciate you taking the time to speak, and hopefully people thinking about STDS or partnering companies will be able to get an idea of what you can do from the program, and how it can help you in a career, and meet fantastic people as part of that as well. I'll leave some contact details around this post. You should be able to find them relatively easily. But yeah, thanks very much again, Amy, and take care. All the best.